Hey everyone, Pastor George here with today's Theolog, and today I wanted to talk about Christmas. And the reason I want to talk about Christmas is because I saw this TikTok video pop up recently that really showed, I think, how a lot of churches can go off the rails around this time of year, and maybe should rethink our vision a little bit. So I'm going to show you the video first, so check it out. So as you can see, that's from a church in Texas, and they have this whole setup where they're like having these guys fly in via ropes, on drums and stuff like that, and it's this whole big production, and you can see that they're already gearing up for their Christmas Eve service, right? And we're not even in December yet. And I just thought that this was something interesting to talk about. I don't know the name of this church. This obviously looks like a big mega church. And Texas has, I'm sure, hundreds of those. So that isn't to what I'm concerned about. But what does this say, right? Well, people who saw this TikTok video, their first reaction was, like, on Twitter anyway, was to talk about how churches should be taxed, right? And I don't really want to get into that, but I think they just think that this is kind of like the norm, or like lots of churches do over the top stuff during Christmas. And I think that that's actually true, right? This is like the time of year when we have services that we know are going to be more highly attended than at other points in the year. And I think that this causes a misunderstanding or a misallocation of resources on the part of a lot of churches. A lot of churches view church like a business, right? You want to try and get as many people into your worship as possible, and you want as much retention as possible, because new members brings not only, hopefully the first thing you're thinking about is more people to Christ. Hopefully that's what you're thinking about. But if you're not thinking about that and you're more dictated by the world, more members brings in more money and more hands to help do things around the church, right? Hopefully that's not what they're thinking of, but you never know these days. Most people seem to think it's all about money, but I would like to hope that isn't the case. Whatever the case is, this is like the go time for a lot of pastors and churches, and I've never really felt very comfortable with that. And I think that's because I've done a lot of reading of history as well. And I've realized that where before the church used to make it pretty difficult to become a member, you used to have to try and do things, probably things that none of us would want to go through today, because it would be a lot of effort unless we were really, really committed. Like, for instance, for a long time, there were only 2 times you could be baptized in a lot of churches. This was way back in the day, the early church period, where it was either Christmas or Easter around these times, and you had to memorize lots of stuff and recite it before everyone, and all of that was done because the church was heavily persecuted, and they wanted to make sure whoever was going to stick it out were the people that were going to stick it out, right? There was no reason to bring in people who would just fall away immediately. And I think so much of the stuff that we do today is based on entertaining or meeting the standards of the people that we hope to bring in, rather than trying to grow or disciple the people in the church, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm an expert at any of this stuff, but I think that that's the problem. And I think that the thing is people will see this type of stuff, and they have the big thing that says Jesus kind of in neon lights in the background, and it's like, what is that? What does this say about Jesus's ministry, right? Other than this is a big spectacle, right? His birth, the remembrance of his birth is a big spectacle. This looks like, to me, a lot more like something you would see at at shows, right? Like in Lancaster and stuff like that. Except those are entertainment. That's actually meant to be entertaining, and meant to bring Bible stories to life type of thing. While this is supposed to be a worship service, and so it's just very odd that these two things are are coming together, but it's not at the same time, because this is like American culture kind of segmenting or meeting with the church. But I think like one of the things that we need to break ourselves out of during Advent season and church in general is that like people should be honored to join the church. That's where it should be. They should be wanting to join us, not us wanting them to, desperately wanting them to join us, right? That's really the way that it should go, right? We want people to become Christian, absolutely, right? We want to spread the gospel, but we want people who actually want to do these things, and not people who are doing it for cultural reasons or for other purposes, right? At least that's not what I want. That to me isn't very helpful. I'm glad that it might get some people in the doors, but unless you're willing to stay, then there isn't like, I don't think the church should cater to people like that. And I think that's not saying our church does that, but that's just general trend in the culture. And I think that that's what that video today reminded me of. And so now that we're in Advent, this is stuff to be thinking about, and thinking about how you yourself can invite people, but like, and reach out and like want people to join the church. But what you want to do is you want to create a culture where they grow and they don't stay kind of in the entertainment mode, but rather that they're actually interested in the things that the church teaches, so, and believes them. So that's all I wanted to say today. And I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I'll see you guys tomorrow for our Bible study recap. Peace out.